And everything was going great. And then at about 18 months, my wife just had this uneasy maternal feeling that something was not quite right with Abigail. You know, she was trying to toddle around and fall. She'd have kind of a smashed up, bloody nose and lips all the time. And so finally she took her into the pediatrician and said, look, check her out. Something's not right here. And the doctor would look and say, look, some kids are late developing. You know, she's just clumsy. She'll grow out of it. But mom's instincts came in, and she kind of went on a maternal strike right there in the doctor's office. Look, I am not leaving until you have an orthopedist in here and we x-ray her. And because she wasn't going to leave, he kind of finally relented and set up an appointment on the spot. And the orthopedist said the same thing. Look, lady, you know, kids grow at different levels. She just may be just kind of clumsy, and she'll get out of this. They x-rayed her, and then when they came back, the two of them, they were both kind of white-faced. Because basically she had been born, we didn't realize, without pretty much a left hip. And so, basically, a very dangerous situation in terms of being crippled for a long time. So we said, well, what do we do? And they said, well, you know, you really need to go see a childhood orthopedic specialist. And really, the place that we would recommend is Scottish Rite Crippled Children's Hospital in Dallas. So within 48 hours, Patricia and Abigail were on the airplane on their way to Dallas, ostensibly just to get checked out. Patricia called me in terror and just said, you know, they didn't just check her out, they just admitted her to the hospital on the spot. And she's in traction, and they're going to begin treatment for her because they said that she's kind of at this borderline between being able to do non-surgical treatment versus surgical and reconstructive treatment. And I didn't know what that meant, but I did take it as a leading that we were making a major life shift. And so I interacted with my navigator leaders. I didn't know how long this was going to last, so I resigned from the NAVS. And with the help of some friends, we packed up our U-Haul and drove all the way into Dallas, and I went straight to the hospital to see Abigail. In the children's ward there, kind of in traction, feet up, and it's a pitiful thing when you're just 18 months old and you've been really mobile one day and now you're totally immobile the next. And so while I was there, we were staying with the in-laws. And then, you know, we'd kind of come for Christmas, you know, and things like this back and forth now for the past 7 or 8 years. But there's something about a hurting grandbaby that just kind of opens up people's hearts. So we're living there in the house. And then my father-in-law says, well, what are you doing for work? He's always the practical one, the business guy in the family. And I said, you know, right now, I haven't even thought about it. He said, well, you're hired. I said, what? He says, yeah. Report to the office on Monday. You're the general manager of the company. Now, I want you to know the company was in a mess. Ever since the day that he disinherited Patricia, the business went down for 8 solid years. And so we've got this kid in the hospital, and I've got now all of a sudden this national business because they had a presence in 40 different states. And it's kind of like I'm walking in cold. And everybody that's working there were the people that were upset at me for marrying the daughter anyway. So it's a really great, warm, welcoming situation to step into as a businessman. So we went through that, and what happened then was that was in June. Abigail then, really for the next year, went through a series of body casts and things like this. And it was quite a sight. My wife was also pregnant at the same time with number 2. And so then by the time the fall had rolled around, we had worked ourselves into exhaustion. You know, trying to take care of Abigail, back and forth from the hospital, home care, and she required a lot of attention because she's immobile from here started writing, and I said, you know, if you were going to reach the people of our time, that would probably mean you'd have to learn how to reach a person like me. Here I am. I'm in business. I'm an owner of a business. But I have all of these things going on. And by most ministry calculations, you would not invest in me because I'm not available to you. I'm not available to show up at your formations. I'm not available to come to your things. And then there's nobody that's going to take the time, pay the price, to kind of enter into the things that I'm entering, that I'm living through. And yet I have a sneaking suspicion that as we walk the streets, that so many of the people that we walk by every day are carrying around burdens like this. And if we don't know how to enter into people's lives at that level, we are not going to reach our generation. But I said, I have a conviction that if we're really going to do this, that all we really need to do is not grand strategy, not great organizations, but it depends on the Spirit of God, the Word of God, and a little help from our friends. And that's a conviction that's never left me, guys. You're going to go through all kinds of situations in your life, things that are going to detach you and disconnect you from the forms and functions that have lifted you up. And they are good things right now. But once you leave from here, you're not going to have maybe the places where you have these kinds of gatherings and these kinds of connections with people. But I'm telling you, because I've experienced it, that if you have the Spirit of God, the Word of God, and a little help from your friends, you'll not only make it, but you'll make a difference. Well, we got into this situation and we began to kind of stabilize in the midst of all of this. And we began to kind of figure out just how to survive. So it was probably 9 months into it, 10 months into it. I was walking through the art department of our business, and one of the artists was in there by herself. It was a big room, but she was the only one in there that day. And she was crying. So I stopped.